from. Super excited. Awesome sauce, folks. So I am Dr. Emily. I am sure I have seen you before, and I'm super excited tonight to talk to you about how to AI proof your tech career. What are those critical skills that we want to learn in the age of AI, right? So we can have that dream career and have that job security that we're looking for, because tech is super lucrative, right? It's super wonderful job opportunities there, but we want to make sure that we're smart about it, that we're strategic, that we're setting ourselves up for success. We're also going to talk a lot about what a good resume looks like, right? What do resumes look like that get hired in tech? And so we're going to dive into that a little bit more deeply tonight. And we're even going to review some resumes live. And that part won't be on the recording because YouTube doesn't allow us to put it there. All right. So just super excited to welcome you here tonight. If you have a chance, pop in the chat, where you're from. So again, I'm Dr. Emily. I'm from outside New York City in Northern New Jersey, and I'm super excited to bring this to you today. And I'm just curious if you guys are ready to have it, just think for a second what that would be like, what your future could look like if you had a tech career, that you didn't have to worry about AI coming and stealing your job, right? That you would always get to learn and always get to problem solve and have a quality of life that you enjoy, right? And have a quality of life that you enjoy. So who's ready for that? Just out of curiosity, who is ready for their tech career to get started? Can you guys let me know? Who is ready for their tech career to get started? Yes, I see some claps. I see some thumbs. This is awesome, folks. So excellent. So, you can't hear. Bummer, Fazal. I want to make sure. I think people are hearing me. Ready to restart. I love it, Dennis. So I think, folks, okay, good. Let me know. It could just be your audio, Fazal. I'm not sure, right? So we'll keep that going. Love it. Super, super awesome. Okay, excellent. Excellent. Ready like Freddy. Super awesome, Mystic. Let's do this. All right, Rick. So good to see everybody. I've been talking to you guys all. Yes, there is a real human on the other end of those text messages. It's me and my team. And so I recognize some names. That's super good. Excellent. All right, folks, let's do this. So I want to make sure you get the most out of tonight. All right, because actually what we're really doing tonight is helping you understand what your own future could look like, right? And so I want you to be ready to walk that pathway with everything that we can put at your disposal. And so we have a workbook associated with tonight. So I don't want you guys to miss it. Let me throw it in here in the chat. All right, folks. So this is the Joy of Coding workbook, PDF workbook for tonight. So grab the link from the chat. If you're watching a replay, it's probably somewhere down below, but we're going to be walking through some of these ideas. Now, part of tonight will be live resume review. And so I might move quickly through some of these concepts because I want to allow plenty of space to kind of dive in and do some of those reviews. We are focused on technical resume reviews. So I think there was a couple resumes that I got that were non-technical. They were for other areas. So just so you know, the focus is on reviewing technical resumes. If you got it in the last hour, I probably downloaded it. So I know I have a couple, and hopefully they're here and we can review those live. All right, super, super awesome, folks. So I want you to get a ton of value out of tonight. And the best way that I know as an educator is for you to have a PDF that you can take notes on. So I've popped that link in the chat, so definitely grab it. Can anyone confirm that they were able to grab the PDF notebook? Just want to confirm that you guys have this. Yes, maybe. Awesome. Thank you, Dennis. Super awesome. Yes, Michelle. Perfect, Jeremy. Love it. All right, sweet. So let's move on. So what I'm going to share with you tonight is a faster path that you can follow to gain the tech skills that will be AI proof and future proof, right? Because there's tech skills out there that won't last the test of time. And there's tech skills that will. Those are the ones that we're focused on tonight. And so what I'd like to show you by contrast is the road that I walked, if that's cool with you guys. Are you guys cool if I shared just a little bit about my story? If you haven't all heard, you may have all heard it. So I'll try and go quickly through it. But for anyone that hasn't heard it, Is that cool, guys? Can I give you I see some thumbs up? All right. Because I just want to give you guys the framing of where this information is coming from, because I have been trying to unlock the secret formula to getting a tech career whenever you want it for like 20 years, right? First with myself and then with others. And I've done it, but that's not where it began. Where I began was investing $244,000 in 10 years of my life, almost $250,000 and a decade. That's how long it took me to become a confident coder. And I got 3 computer science degrees. And do you know who's taught me how to code? It was me. I didn't know what I was doing. And my teachers would put problems in front of me and I didn't know how to solve them. And I kept working at it and working at it and working at it for 10 years and $250,000. And eventually the light bulb went off and I figured it out. And once it did, I was a little mad, to be honest, because I just spent all that time getting 3 computer science degrees and I had to teach myself how to problem solve and be a confident coder. I was like, what gives? So after that point, I went on a mission to teach absolutely anyone how to become a confident coder and create awesome software. And so that is the home of the information that I'm sharing with you tonight, that this comes from a very deep struggle, right? I was so frustrated. The fastest way to get me to do something is to tell me it can't be done. And so I went out to try and find it. And along the way, right, I became a professor. So I went through that, college experience. I don't know about you guys, but I always heard growing up that, oh my goodness, if you want to learn something, get a good job, you go to college. Did you guys hear that too? That if you want a job and you want a steady income, you want to learn something, you go to college. Did anyone else hear that? You can give me a thumbs up, claps, whatever you got. Yes. Awesome sauce, folks. Yep, I see some claps. Thanks, folks. Exactly. So I heard that too. And it was so frustrating. Great to see you, Melissa. It was so frustrating. And so I wanted to fix the system. I'm like, it's broken. Let's fix it. And so I went and I became a professor. I did all these things. I published over 50 peer-reviewed international publications at various prestigious journals all over the world, studying this problem of software engineering and how do you become expert on a software system as quickly as possible. Basically, how do you become a 6-figure software developer as fast as humanly possible? That's literally what I studied in my professional research career. I gave an invited talk at Microsoft Research. My work was published and cited by thousands of researchers worldwide. I got awards, right? Like I did all the professor things. So it wasn't like I wasn't doing the work, right? Like I was excelling, but I was left in this position where, gosh, I was hitting limits of the system. The university system was not designed to teach a 21st century skill like technology that is constantly evolving. And I could see what the solution was as a professor. I was like, this is not the solution. And the university's administrative structure of how they set up the learning environment was not conducive to teaching software development as well and quickly as I knew it could be taught. And so the Joy of Coding Academy was born, and I started my own school. So I tried to fix the problem from within, hit the limit, and then went off on my own. So that's where this comes from. So I went rogue. That's where this comes from. All right. So what I'm sharing with you is the culmination of decades of study of this problem of how to become an amazing software developer. And not only that, how to become this like super amazing go-to software developer that has the confidence to solve any coding problem that comes their way, right? That is the space we are channeling from tonight, right? How do we get there? Not just like, oh, can I get a job? No, how can I own it and walk into a software system in a language I've never seen before and have ultimate confidence that I'm going to do whatever needs to be done, right? Like, how do we have that confidence in ourselves and our work, even when we don't know the solution? We have this confidence that we will get the solution, even if we don't know all the twists and turns of the path. That's the confidence that every technologist needs to really thrive and not be living in fear and to be successful and to carry on and have a career and not just a job here or there. All right, folks, super awesome, super awesome. All right, cool. So let's dive into this, shall we? Let's dive into that. So are you guys ready to, so that my story was the hard way. Spend 10 years and $250,000 learning how to code. Are you guys ready to see the smart way? Are you guys ready to see the smart way? Give me thumbs up. Let me know. Awesome sauce. Let's do this. Let's do this. Okay, cool. Get those PDFs ready, guys. All right, you can't take the educator out, right? You can take the teacher out of the classroom, but you can't take the educator out. So on the PDF, I think it's page 3. All right, I just want to review quickly because I get this question so often. I just want to make sure we're like clearing the big elephant in the room, because to be honest, anyone who's in the know finds the idea of AI replacing human developers as laughable. Is it changing the shape of software development? Absolutely. So did Google. It just sped it up. It just sped it up. And I'm going to walk you through exactly why so you can see it. Absolutely, Mia. We can send this again. Let's see. It's right up here. Let's see. Copy. Oh, good. Is someone else getting it for us? Thank you. Excellent, folks. Thanks, Alir. Love it. So a couple weeks ago, there was a leaked recording in Amazon. So the Amazon Cloud CEO, oh my goodness. As CEOs, like, so I'm a CEO, so I get it, right? Like, our job is to have the vision to direct the future of where the company is going to go. But you know, sometimes we're not sure about the timing and the details. So the CEO of Amazon's Cloud, he, in an internal recording that wasn't supposed to be released to the public, said, "Oh yeah, all software developers are getting replaced in 2 years," right? Or something like to that effect, right? And then anyone that actually has used ChatGPT for programming is like laughing up their sleeve because it's definitely not 2 years away. I mean, it's garbage in, garbage out. There's lawyers using ChatGPT in New York City. Get this, guys. So these lawyers use ChatGPT to write their briefings for them, and it cites court cases that don't exist as part of their briefings. Okay, I don't know if they're going to get disbarred or not, but like you can't just use ChatGPT. It's not just copy and paste. You have to actually do something. Like, there's actual involvement and human involvement and thinking that is required. All right, so let me walk through. Like, yes, AI is evolving the role of a software developer for sure, right? AI basically empowers every software developer to have their own personal, like almost instantaneous coding assistant right next to them. It's almost like every software developer is now a manager of a team of one. That name is ChatGPT, but they're still a manager, right? And what does that mean? The human still needs to tell the AI what to do and know that it worked. Okay. Now, when we're writing emails to people, letters to famous people, I don't know if you guys have seen that ad on TV where the young girl is writing a letter to an Olympic, star racer, runner. But, when you're doing writing like that, it's fairly straightforward to tell ChatGPT what you want it to do. And then you read it and you're like, yeah, that worked. But here's the problem with software. You can't just read it. You can't just read it to know that it's right. You can read it and get a sense of, yeah, did that work? But then you have to actually run it and put it into practice. And there isn't a great way to integrate that and do it automatically. In the future, there might be, but there's also already been security holes that ChatGPT has revealed, secure code to employees that didn't have the clearance for it. So there's many years of policy and best practices ahead of us to figure this out. And even still, no matter how advanced the AI get, there needs to be a human that's like, yes, this is good to go. So there's no taking the developer out of the loop. All we're doing is evolving the developer's role, which means we're able to have just as many developers, right? Because we have more and more companies that are using custom software and are taking advantage of it. So that's where the human stays in the loop, right? ChatGPT is a tool, just like Google was a tool. Google did not replace the software developer, neither is AI. Are there jobs that will be taken away by AI? Absolutely. But it's not going to be in the software developers. The way I hear it said is in the modern world, you want to stay above the API. What does that mean? Right? So let's think of Amazon for a second. Amazon as a company, has workers at many levels. The website is like the API, or the mobile app. That's the API layer, right? That's the software layer. If you're above the software layer, you're a software developer. You're an executive, right? Like you're high up in the company. If you're below the software layer, you are, working in the shipping offices, right? Like you're delivering, that kind of thing. Those jobs, the ones that are, the most transient and replaceable. You want to be above the API or the software layer. Okay. That's where you want to be. And so it doesn't really matter if AI is involved or not, because you have to stay above that layer that you're calling the shots and you're directing. Even if AI is involved, you're deciding what that AI is doing, because we need to know how to recognize if the AI worked. And that's a two-step process. You read it over to the best of your ability. And to read code, you have to actually know how to program, right? To know if it did it correctly, did it design it correctly? Like there's so much sophistication required in the human signing off on the AI. It's only speeding up the human involvement. It is in no way replacing it, in no way, shape, or form. There's just too much to it still. And we've been working on automatically generating code for decades now, right? Decades, literally decades. Let's see. So Dennis is mentioning companies are afraid to share the really good data by using AI because their proprietary competitive advantage might be lost. That too, for sure. So the question becomes, what are these critical skills that are going to make a software developer or anyone in technology, really future-proof, where they don't have to worry about their career at every turn? They don't have to look over their shoulder. Oh, what's AI doing this year, right? The idea is that if you have the proper preparation, which is what we teach inside the Joy of Coding Academy, you don't have to worry how technology advances. It's always changing. Technology is always changing all the time. So we know this. So we can focus on the skills that make it easy for you to pick up new technologies and solve problems. Because solving problems is the constant. As a technologist, we are always solving problems. We are lifelong learners. But the question becomes, right, what are those critical skills that are absolutely necessary for everything, right? Yeah. So such great comments, folks. Such great comments. I'm going to circle back on those. I just want to let you guys know what these critical skills for developers in the age of AI are. So we need to be able to read and recognize. That's what I was saying before, right? We have to be able to read the results that ChatGPT gives us and recognize if it's correct. That is a non-trivial problem that cannot be undertaken by a novice. You actually have to use ChatGPT for coding. You have to be able to code it yourself. You don't have to code it yourself, but you need to be able to. Do you see the distinction? Because if you don't know enough to be able to code it yourself, you will never know if ChatGPT did it right or not. If this is worth putting into practice, or is this going to strand astronauts on the International Space Station, right? Like we see the bugs, like when they happen for real, we see them. You have to actually know how to do it, folks, right? Doesn't matter how smart ChatGPT gets. Somebody's got to be on the other end signing off and saying, yes, this was what we wanted. You have to be able to debug it, because it's unlikely to work if you just copy and paste it in. Like 80% of the code that software developers write is integrating into an existing system. If you think about it, you almost never get to write from scratch. If you're coming into a software project as a developer, the company has already had that project. It's generated millions of dollars over the course of years before they hired you. You're not writing some small program from scratch. You're fitting into some giant existing infrastructure. Like imagine a brick wall and you're coming in like a surgeon and working in a couple little bricks. They're all connected, right? So when you have ChatGPT giving you outputs and code, you've got to copy and paste it in, but it's not going to just go like this, right? It's going to have to be integrated. And so you have to be able to debug and integrate that code. And what if it didn't work right? What if ChatGPT got it 80% right and a couple lines were off? They didn't fit with your system. It wasn't the design you were going for. Okay, We got to debug it. So you got to integrate it, you got to debug it. And here is the thing, this is the smoking gun of why the human is staying in the loop for at least 20 years, I would say, is because there's so much context. What do I mean by this? When you build software, like this is why anyone that actually is a six-figure software developer knows that no one needs to worry about AI. Even though like the CEO of Amazon Cloud's like, oh yeah, developers are being replaced. No, they're evolving. Right? They are so evolving because when you're building for scalability, every software project we create these days is building to get bigger, right? Like we're building mobile sites and web apps to be the next Yelp or Airbnb. And so when we build for that scalability, there's context there because it's not going to grow in every direction. It's going to grow in certain directions. In fact, we can't build software that grows in every direction. So now we have to understand the broader context in which the software lives, because we have to know what is the client likely to ask for, like next week, next month, next quarter. Maybe the client asked us to do something totally unreasonable. Had that once, right? The client asked us to integrate payment processing, which is fine. They will eventually need it, but they didn't need it then. And we worked on it furiously for 2 months. And the week it was delivered, they realized it wasn't going to work, which we tried to tell them early on that this business approach wasn't going to work. And they insisted. And so they spent, 2 months of the development team's time and their finances delivering something that they cut after a week. And then we're shocked and saddened to hear 2 years later, after over a year of development, longer after that we couldn't just copy and paste those pieces back in anymore. It goes stale, right? It's like, it's like, imagine a baby lost a tooth and they grew up to be an adult and they lost that tooth as an adult, and you try and hand them in and say, here, go put this tooth back. It doesn't work. Yeah. Same is true of coding, right? Code ages too. It grows and expands and it makes difference. And so this is what is really difficult to share with AI, right? With AI, you have to give it all the information. And if you have to have a way to articulate it. The human mind is holding so much. You can't communicate it all. It would take you 20 pages. And at that point, you might as well code it up yourself, right? So that's one of the challenges, for AI and using AI is that when you're anticipating future change, the amount of context required to design software properly, it just requires way too much knowledge. So really, the software developer is not being replaced. It's just their role is evolving to one of more like managerial and articulating like what needs to happen versus actually being the hands to do it. It's an evolution versus a replacement. Because to recognize if AI worked, to debug it if it didn't, or to integrate it if it did, a developer needs to be able to do it anyways. So that's why these skills still worth learning. We had some great comments I just want to share with you guys. So Rick said that he was a technical magazine editor before moving into writing about IT, and he saw that he had to edit the output of ChatGPT just as he had to edit the writings of human subject matter experts. Absolutely, right? Like it's just an assistant. You still have to decide if it was right and tell it what you want, right? And Sumit said, artificial intelligence cannot develop self-generated ideas. Exactly. It merely relies on existing documentation that you can Google. Right. So ChatGPT is always going to be limited by okay, I'm going to go a little fancy pants meta professor here on you guys. Right. But so ChatGPT is limited by, current human thought, right? The bounds of where humans are currently thinking, like what have humans currently created? It's not going to think beyond that. Like it's not going to have that flash of insight that no one's ever thought of before. Like it can create new works of art, but they're all going to be derivative because they're all based on what we've already done. Sure, it's putting the pieces together in a new way, but it's like, the leap of going from Google to AI. AI wasn't going to come up with that leap, right? Humans did. humans did. So there are bounds. Like AI is super helpful. It's an important tool, and it's something of our time. It's really neat and cool to learn about, but it's not what everybody's afraid of. Now, there are other jobs that AI will take, but not development ones. Because to be honest, a lot of software development is also, understanding the requirements and talking to the stakeholders. And whenever there's human interaction, right, there usually needs to be a human in the loop. Super good. Super good. Exactly, Dennis. You want to be able to anticipate future contexts. Exactly. So just out of curiosity, would you guys like to know how to land an AI-proof tech job in the next 6 to 12 months? Would that be helpful for you folks? Let me just know, because I want to know we have a couple different ways we can go, right? So hopefully with what I've said before, like just now, that you can see, I guess that'd be my question. Can you guys see that AI is not taking the dev jobs? Are you guys on board with that? Because I can also dive in more deeply, because we've been in, okay, awesome, O'Neill. If you have any other questions about this topic, we actually interviewed in the Facebook group, and it's on our YouTube channel. I interviewed a really good friend and someone who's been an AI researcher and practitioner in industry for over 20 years. We interviewed him and we had a conversation about why AI is not taking all the dev jobs just last month. So please, if you have any more questions on that, and every expert I consult, we all agree, no, AI is not stealing all the tech jobs for sure. So would you guys like to know how to land an AI-proof tech job? Is that cool? Would you guys like to dive into that? Because I can also, there's some other things that we'll go into as well. All right, awesome, Daniel. Super. Cool. Awesome, Kate. Love it. So let's dive into that. Again, I'm trying to keep this contained and move a little bit more quickly. If for any reason I go too fast, please don't hesitate to ask questions. You can pop them in the chat and keep an eye on it, because I want to make sure I'm leaving time for our resumes. I definitely have Aaron's and I have Melissa's. There's a couple others that I saw, but they weren't tech resumes. So I want to really focus tonight on the tech resumes. Okay, so here we go. So how do we land an AI-proof tech job in 2024 and 2025? All right, so there's 4 key things. Right? There's 4 key things. Jeremy, you might have to send it in the chat. I don't know if I'll be able to check my email live. We'll see. All right. But if anyone has a tech resume that they'd like reviewed tonight, right, you can email it to hello@joyofcoding.academy, and I'll see what we have time for. All right. I'll see what we have time for. So there's actually 4 things, 4 you need to get a tech job in the next 6 to 12 months. All right. Who agrees that we can learn 4 things, that we can do 4 things? We can do 4 things, right? Yes. Yes, Daniel raised hand. Of course, Mia. Yes, absolutely. Okay. So let's see what those 4 critical elements are. And some take more time than others. Okay. So we've got skills, confidence, experience. All right. 4 things. And I'm going to show you in a couple slides how you need all 4 of those things. And is anyone on the job hunt currently? Just out of curiosity, is anyone currently on the job hunt, like submitting resumes? Who's there? Yeah, perfect. No, I mean like not just submitting resumes to me, but like applying for jobs and submitting, not just for review, but for interviews. Right, it is. Awesome. So, okay, awesome, Sumita's. So if you're actively on the job market, yes, Kate, love it, right? We can actually debug, at least in tech, right? I'm not going to say that this is going to work in nurse areas, but in tech and IT and technology, I can tell you where the gap is based on where you're getting stuck in the process. And so I'm going to go over that with you, okay? Nice. Awesome. Awesome, Mia. Super awesome. So I want to dive just a little bit more deeply into the skills, because this is so often, there's so much choice here and there's so much competing information on the internet. It's not surprising that, beginners can get a little bit lost. So let's dive into this for just a second. And I want to show you guys something. It's on page 4 if you want to keep along, if you're playing the home game with the PDF workbook. All right. What skills to learn? What skills to learn? All right, guys. These are all the technologies that a job advertisement could ask for and that you could be asked to learn in your career. How does it feel, guys? How does it feel? Does this feel overwhelming at all? Let me know. Pop in the chat. Let me see it. Give me a thumbs up. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Is this challenging? Is this challenging? Yeah, Aaron, oh my God. Yeah. Yeah, Jeremy, 200 years. Yeah, kind of impossible. Yeah, agreed, right? How long might it take us? I like 200 years, but at least 10 to 20. And might it be obsolete before we're finished? Yeah, it might be. So why do I share this with you? Because many training programs that are out there give you this. They're trying to open up your head and pour in the knowledge. But that doesn't work, right? That used to work. Like that is the traditional college model, is to convey information. But it's not about the information anymore. The information is changing. These technologies are changing. We need to change. We need to shift our focus. The solution is to focus on your process of problem solving so that it doesn't matter what new technology comes along. You're going to be able to pick it up. Everything is like old is new again. Like the cloud. Guess what? They invented the cloud in the 70s. They called it client server computing. And we worked with it for like decades, and then it reinvented itself, right? And because the internet was born. Like it's still the same stuff. I could never understand it in the, when the cloud came out. I had been using the cloud, right? Like, and as computer scientists before me had been using the cloud since the 70s. I was just like, why is this such a big deal? But it's really, the cloud became accessible to every man, right? To the everyday person, and not just someone who's tech savvy. So the good news is that we don't have to learn this picture, because at any one given moment, you would never be asked to use all of these things at the same time, right? Like all of these things at some point in your career to touch them or use them, but you're never going to be asked at the same time. At one moment, you're only going to be asked to work with a couple of these at a time, right? And once you have that foundation, it's easier to pick up others that are similar. All right. So good news is we can skip the overwhelm. What I'd like to do is briefly present an alternative to you guys, right? This is the model that we employ as the Confident Coder system inside the Joy of Coding Academy and our new Tech Joy training camp program. So the good news is you don't need to learn everything. Whew. Awesome, because we couldn't, right? We couldn't. So if we don't need to learn everything, what are these key critical skills that we need to learn so that we can solve anything, right? What do we need? We need the fundamentals. We need the fundamentals of problem solving. It's like the alphabet, right? You can't learn to read a book or write a book if you don't know the alphabet. So we need to get our alphabet down. And when I say master, what do I mean? If you took a piece of code, you could read it and predict what it will output before you run it. That's the depth of understanding you want for the fundamentals. That's not the depth of understanding you need when you're building real life systems, because sometimes you can't figure out exactly why everything is happening, because integrating systems, internet stuff, it can be crazy. Like there's so much that happens, technical problems that are undocumented features, right? Like when you actually go to build in real life, you don't have this level of mastery anymore. But for the fundamentals, you must have this level of mastery, because if you don't, you're going to be wasting your time every single time you hit one of those problems in production. When you're working on real systems, you're going to hit those problems, and you're not going to be distracted by the easy stuff when you're working on the hard stuff, right? Of like, how do those things integrate together? So once we have those fundamental skills down, here is the key secret sauce, folks. We have to have a process to learn and solve any tech problem. Because if we don't, we will be constantly afraid to try new things. We'll be constantly intimidated by taking on risks and trying to solve problems at work. And it's going to shoot our career in the foot. You tracking what I'm saying? Exactly, Sumit. We got to learn how to learn, right? This is a non-negotiable. If you want a career and not just one job and one offer, and then you get fired, like, you actually must know this. It doesn't matter what that diagram looked like. You must know how to learn new things, because whatever, like, I could teach you everything on the planet. Let's say I teach you everything on the planet in technology. 1 year later, half of it's obsolete. It's evolved, right? You're always updating in technology. Technology is vast, it's expansive, and it's continuing to grow. We have to assume that something new is going to come out in our career. And this is the path to the confident coder, because the confident coder has confidence in their process of problem solving. That's what gives them their confidence. How do I know? Because I'm a confident coder. And I remember not being a confident coder. Oh my goodness, right? But now, and it's borne out and true, because now I'm so confident in my process. I have walked into situations in languages I have not personally programmed in, and I have helped my students solve their problems, because it's not, right? It's not the language, it's the process. It's not the library or the framework, it's the process. Like, imagine having a process to learn anything in tech. Debugging becomes easy, because debugging is just learning about your system. Typically, debugging happens because something is undocumented. Oh, look, this interaction happens. Oh, look, if you put a comment as the first line, it doesn't work. You get a compiler error that has nothing to do with a comment. So you have no clues, right? Like, this is what real life software development is. It's looking at these whacked out errors that the computer gives you and figuring out how to fix it so that it actually does what you want it to. And so to have confidence in that, because every single solution is different, every solution is unique, you have to have a rock solid process to learn and solve any tech problem. And how do you get that confidence in your process, right? So I can give you that process, but it's meaningless if you don't have confidence in your ability to execute it. You have to actually apply that process in real world situations. Exactly, Dennis. We have to practice. We have to practice. And what I love about this model is that every developer I talk to, like every senior developer, anyone who's been around for 5 to 10 years or more, gets really excited about this process, because they recognize in it that this is how they learned too. Right? Learning on the job, but like, this is the process that every professional developer uses every day on their job. Like, what differentiates the 6-figure software developer from someone who's making 40 to 60K? And it's their problem solving process that they can actually get the job done, right? And when I say you have a problem solving process, I don't mean you know how to prompt ChatGPT, because there are situations where ChatGPT and Google fail. In fact, I have been teaching these skills since before AI came out, so that my students could be Google proof, back when it was only Google. How can you program and problem solve when Google fails? What's your process? It might take you 10 times as long. If ChatGPT and Google don't work, it might take you a really long time. But that is where, right? That is where you are shown, like, your abilities are shown to your employer. This is where you earn your keep and you guarantee promotions, is when you can solve a problem no matter what. No matter what. And so that is the process that we teach. We teach our students how to solve problems without Google. Sure, we're going to use Google when we can. But what if Google doesn't work? Can you still solve it? That is what we teach. And then when you take that process and you apply it in real world situations, that's where your confidence comes in. That's where the confidence comes in. Awesome. Awesome. Love it, Smeet. Super awesome. Yeah. Oh yeah. There's some fun bugs out there for sure. And just to bring this home, like the power of even these fundamental basics, right? It can be so transformative. Like if you've been someone who's been learning how to code for a while, trying to do it on your own and not making progress, like literally a couple weeks can unlock this for you with us, like following our approach. A few hours, right? Like 20 hours, right? You don't need 4 years and a college degree. Like I took everything I taught, teaching students every semester, year after year, hundreds and hundreds of students every semester until I had it locked in. And I've got it. Pedro walked through. He was a student that was struggling on his own. He was, trying to watch YouTube videos. He came in and followed our pathway. 2 weeks, he's writing his own programs from scratch. He'd never been able to do that before. John was a student that came to us. He had a software engineering degree. Took him 6 years to get it. He told me he learned more in a month. He did the first 2 months training. He learned more. He was able to do it in a month because he had prior experience. He learned more in a month than in 6 years, right? Because, we're actually teaching to that gap of how do you actually become an amazing software developer. Like we're not teaching the language. That's going to change, right? We just saw that giant diagram of languages and technologies. The language is not going to stay the same. We are teaching the fundamental, essential skills of what is your problem solving process? What is your process of learning and uncovering information in the tech space, right? Super awesome. So yes, this is like the missing manual to programming that is often missed because it's not about the language, it's about the process. And Shelly, she was working on YouTube for many, many years, 2 hours in our first week. And she was like, yep, I got it now. Thanks. That was great. And how do we do that? Right. I just want to mention this briefly for those of you that are curious. And then we're going to dive more into, unpacking your job hunt and the resume hunt. Right. How do we do this? How do we make sure that we're teaching you the problem solving process? Because this is where really our secret sauce lies. Right? Like anyone can say like, oh yeah, we teach you the right skills. But if they're talking about languages, they're not teaching you the right skills. Yes, we teach languages too, but languages are a vehicle. They're not the end, right? They're not the destination. They're a means to an end. It's one of the ways we get there. You can get there with JavaScript and Python or PHP, right? The language doesn't matter. It's can you actually solve problems? That's what matters, right? So how do we teach that? How do you teach problem solving? Because that's actually what we do. We teach people to solve any problem and have the confidence in their ability to do it. We do it by putting the principles over the technology, right? Because the technology changes. Languages change. Principles don't. Would you believe that there are principles in programming that you can learn that have been around since the 1970s? The 7 basics I just talked about, they have been the same 7 basics since the 1970s for 50 years. Can you believe that? That there's something from 50 years ago in technology that still has relevance today? I'd say that's worth learning about, right? Might it have relevance for the next 10 to 20 years for your career? Sure. That's because principles are timeless. They don't change. You learn, right, how to problem solve with the principles, and then you showcase them with the technology. The other key thing is that we prioritize our students' process over the solution. If there's any educators or teachers in the house, they may understand this. But the best analogy I can give you is this idea. Have you guys ever heard this? Where if you give someone a fish, they'll eat for a day. But if you teach them how to fish, they'll eat for a lifetime. This is the same idea. It takes us a little bit longer, right, to answer your questions this way. But our goal, right, on our team, our student success team, is to help every student solve their own problem. But with support, I have heard of training programs that when you ask them a question, the support staff say, go figure it out for yourself. To me, that is not helpful, right? But there are ways, as an educator, I know, of helping foster that problem-solving process. It's when you ask a question and we ask a question back, right? Maybe we help plug some little gaps, but we're focused on your process. We're not just going to tell you the answer, because that's not helping you either. Right? That's potentially limiting your learning by giving you the answer. And the boot camp grads that only learned to do what the teacher told them don't have jobs right now, right? Like, if you want to have a future-proof tech career, you need to actually know how to do the work. And if you don't, if you can't learn on your own and adapt and solve problems yourself, you're not going to get there, right? So that's why we teach it this way, right? Because we are training the next generation of innovators and and technologists, right? That's who we're helping. Exactly, Kate. And one of the key other ways that we do this is that we know that learning by doing is the best and fastest teacher, having experience. Our guaranteed internship program is how we do that. So what I'd like to do now is I'd like to focus briefly, just summarize what are these critical elements for an AI-proof tech career, and then we're going to dive in to some of those resume pieces. All right. So I just, wanted to share, the story of Arthur just briefly. He was someone that went to one of those boot camps that tried to open up your head and pour in the knowledge to the tune of 80-hour weeks. Oh my goodness. Can you imagine doing 80-hour weeks for 3 months? He didn't know which way was up. So he came in after 3 months in the Joy of Coding Academy, had his first job offer because he finally figured out how to do the things. So that's the cool thing. If you've been trying to learn for a while, is that, when you've been trying to learn for a while, you have a lot of knowledge, but you might just not know how it all goes together. It's like having a puzzle and having it be dumped out on the ground and not really knowing where the edges are yet. Right? Or, dumping a Lego set on the floor and it's not built yet. You have all the pieces, you just don't know where they go. So our approach to teaching will help you see where things go, if that makes sense. Awesome, Dennis. I will see if I can grab it once we transition to that part. Once I went live on the, I'm not sure. I had to check my email at like 8:40. So we'll see. Awesome sauce. So no worries. We'll work on it. Excellent. So we have to have the right skills. That's it. If you want an AI-proof tech job, you got to have the right skills. You got to have your right skills. Awesome sauce. So confidence. We have to have confidence. If you don't have confidence, you're not getting a job offer and you're not getting top dollar. Our student Doris, who had the top salary of any student, she negotiated up to $150K offer. She had never had a coding job before. She was in tech, so she had some experience in a tech adjacent area. She worked with databases but didn't program them, right? She was in tech. She was in data. 150K. First coding job. Pretty crazy. That was confidence right there. That's what did that for sure. So let's dive into this a little bit. So what happens as part of let's debug your job hunt, right? What happens if you don't have the right skills? If you don't have it, you're going to fail the technical interview. That's it. End of the story. If you don't have confidence, you're going to fail the behavioral interview. This is the face-to-face interview, right? So in tech, there's actually 2 interviews, technical and the face-to-face or behavioral. And if you don't have confidence, you're not getting an offer. That's it. If you don't have experience on your resume, you're not getting interviews. This is why every, Joy of Coding Academy student gets a guaranteed internship. Not only does it complete their training by learning by doing, it gives them confidence and it gives them experience. I love win-wins. That's like a triple win. All right. I love those. So if you want to if you find you're not getting interviews, I highly recommend some kind of an internship experience so you have something on your resume. But if you want an offer, there's one more component that you'll need, and that's going to be a connection, especially if this is your first time position in tech. If you are transitioning from another area of tech, the connections may not be as critical, but if you're entry level, like this is your first major tech job, you will need connections because you're too unknown. It's too risky for most small and medium-sized businesses to hire someone with no experience because anyone with an internet connection can just say they know JavaScript, but do they really, right? See, a connection will vouch for you so that there is this additional line of communication so that the company looking at your resume knows that it's legit, right? And that you're like a nice person to work with and have around. Because having someone who's a good cultural fit with the team is actually huge. That's usually who gets the job. Like once they get to the interview, it's a popularity contest, typically. The only reason it wouldn't be is if they thought you like totally couldn't do the job. But I've seen people get hired where they might not have been the best technical candidate. Like they didn't have the best tech skills, but they were good. They were sufficient, but they had better personality that gelled better with the team. They got the offer over the person that was the best technologically. So it absolutely is about culture and fit, building rapport, right? Building that camaraderie on the interview. Like you're one of the team already. So just out of curiosity, is anyone currently on the job market getting stuck in any of these areas? Is anyone getting stuck in these areas? Just out of curiosity. Connections. Yeah. So Daniel, are you getting interviews but no offers? Just out of curiosity. So Daniel said he's stuck with connections. Right. And the way you would know that is if you're getting interviews, but you're not getting offers. That would be how you know that the connections piece is missing. Because there are other types of connections. The easiest one when you're just getting started is a person, is human. But you can be connected to a job for like your skills. Like if you have a special niche of expertise that isn't very common. Like for instance, let's say there was a job for a web developer for a dance studio. The fact that maybe you did ballet for 12 years growing up would raise you, right? Would give you a stronger connection to that position. So Aaron's stuck with my end, looking for companies that actually can rally for. Yep. Melissa, lack of experience and connections when learning and just beginning to build your portfolio. Yep. Don't know which door to knock. Yep. Super off. Yep. Daniel, absolutely. Kind of transitioning between DevOps. Good. Oh, into DevOps, but I want to switch to full developer. Yes, you might already have the skills, but anyone who's transitioning careers like Daniel, when you're transitioning careers, if your resume experience doesn't align with what you're trying to do, it's going to be a problem. Everyone's going to question, is this a good fit for you? Your career is prepping you for a different direction. So you have to have the experience of the new job you're targeting, the new types of jobs you're targeting on your resume to help make that switch, is at least what I'm seeing for our students that are trying to do the same thing. When they have that internship experience, they typically, don't have a challenge, as big a challenge, getting their foot in the door, because they can say like, yes, I was coming from this other area of tech, but now I want to do this cool thing instead, if that makes sense. Cool. Great, guys. This is awesome. So would you guys like to know learn how to get your resume on the top of the pile? Would you guys just let me know in the chat or give me a thumbs up if you guys would like to know that? I'm seeing some other great comments here as well. Yeah, Melissa's having that same issue transitioning careers because her experience is in programming, for sure. Awesome. So now it's a little bullet heavy because this is the first time I put this together. Somebody had asked this as a question at a previous masterclass. Can't remember, it might even be Melissa or Aaron, or maybe it was the Tech Tuesday, but I put together some information about it. So how do you get your resume to the top of the pile, right? And we've been talking about this in the Facebook group for a long time. We also, another place to check, we interviewed former Amazon recruiter Lindsay Mustaine. So that's another place to look. Like she talked about how to be the A player on the list versus the B player. The A player is like the company invites you to apply kind of thing. That's who you want to be. I'm not specifically talking about that, but what is the strategy, right, to target for getting a job? Well, like, because I've had some people ask me, I think Melissa, it might have been you at the live this week, was, gosh, what's the most popular? I get this question all the time, right? Like, what language is getting hiring the most? Like, what's the most popular language to get a job in? Like, what's the fastest language to learn to get a job? And usually that's not the answer at all. Are you guys seeing a theme? It's not the language. But if your goal is the fastest path to a tech job, you should not be asking the question, what language is in demand? Because everybody and their mother are learning that language right now because they can use the same statistics online. We need to be a little bit more thoughtful and strategic. All right. So let me share with you guys. All right. Like this is how we coach our students in the academy. All right. You're going to want to pick a niche. You're not going to want to compete with everyone else. You're not going to want to compete with everybody else. You got to pick a niche. Why is that? Right? Because if you compete with everyone else, isn't it like, if you're competing with hundreds of people for an interview, who's to say if you happen to get picked or not? But if you niche down and become like the perfect candidate for some of these jobs, they're yours, right? So we have to do that step. And so the way I recommend students do this is grab a handful, as many as or up to a dozen of ideal job ads that you would love to have, right? Just look online, just see what suits your fancy. Yeah, I'd like this. I'd like that. Grab them and then look for overlaps. Reverse engineer the expertise that you need. Because how many people have seen a job ad where it was like totally bogus what they were asking for? Like they were asking for impossible things. Has anyone ever seen that? Like asking for impossible things. Like ChatGPT came out 3 years ago and they're asking for 10 years ChatGPT experience, right? So you need to cut through that. And the way we cut through that is by taking a couple of them, right? We're triangulating and we're looking for those overlaps. That's where you get that consistency. Okay, all the jobs I like have this in common. Let me learn that, right? Like, so we can reverse engineer what your specific learning should be, right? And then we need hands-on experience with it. So the way we do that in the academy is with a guaranteed internship. So we figure out what you need on your resume for your perfect dream job, and then we go get that experience. Once you've got that dialed in, then you want to find a connection or an advocate who can be a raving fan for you, who can articulate your value and share it and is inspired enough to go do that and take that action on your behalf. Because typically connections to jobs are not our first level of connections using LinkedIn speak, but our second or third degree connections, right? So you need you need to find a connection or an advocate in your first tier that can recommend to their second and third tier, right? That's where you're going to most likely find a position. So if you don't know someone that knows someone that might be hiring, other things you can do: go to local tech meetups, hang out in Facebook, Discord, and other places online where people with the job you'd like to have hang out, build relationships, talk to them, answer questions. Don't be focused on the job, because people get kind of bummed out about that and just be like, what are you talking about? That won't be exciting for them. So you really want to focus on building the relationships with them, right? And then eventually you could say, hey, do you recommend, do you know anyone that might be hiring, right? Or what do you recommend someone like me trying to break into the industry might do? And they'll give you recommendations. So if you manage to talk to someone at a company you'd actually like to work for, they can literally tell you the fastest path to getting a job there. It's pretty cool. But you do have to get them talking to you, right? So you have to build that relationship first. They'll take the time to explain it when you ask. And then, check in with your friends and family. Does anyone know someone that might be hiring in tech? And just kind of send out those feelers. And we also will do cold LinkedIn connections and DMs, ideally to employees of similar companies to the ones your ideal jobs are, especially second and third connections. And you don't have to write a message to start. You can just connect with them and then it opens things up. So for instance, I remember recently this summer, I decided I went on LinkedIn and it was recommending me all these connections. You can only do so many a day, but I was just like, oh, I'm just going to friend all the University of Delaware connections. That's where I went to graduate school. I'm just going to friend them all. And then out of that, a couple other people that I had been connected with and we'd kind of fallen out of, like reached out to me out of the blue and like had opportunities. It was great. So like, it doesn't have to be hard, right? It doesn't even necessarily have to be DMs to start. You can just build your network and just build your connections, and especially targeting people that work at those companies that you're interested in working at, right? And the last thing you want to be able to do is you need to be able to articulate your value. What's that mean, right? You need to be able to say what you contribute to the job if you were hired, so they know that like you're the type of person that they want to work with, right? So what can you uniquely provide? And with articulating your value, you need to be confident. I can't underscore that enough. It's everywhere. You have to be confident because their belief in your abilities will be directly tied to your confidence. I'll say it again because it's really important for the job hunt. The interviewer's belief in your abilities is directly tied to your confidence, right? It's crazy. It's crazy. Yep. Super awesome. Super awesome. Okay. So just a little bit of review here, and then we'll dive into some I want to do some resumes, I think. All right, cool. I'm just looking here. All right, sweet. So quick review, and then I'm going to ask you guys a question. We might do some resume reviewing, and then we'll dive back in. I want to get your dream career roadmap. Like, you know how I said, like, pick a niche and like figure out where you're going? In that PDF that you have, I have an exercise where you can kind of walk through and map out what your dream career would look like. And I'd love to do that with you guys. Okay. So question, true or false, folks? Pop quiz. You guys ready? It's page 5. AI is replacing all the tech workers. True or false, folks? Let me know in the chat. Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. All right, good. False. Okay, awesome. Yes. We're there. Love it. Good. Good. Yes. False. It's evolving the tech worker. Very good. Very good. Excellent, folks. All right, I got another one for you. Are you ready? Okay. This is the fun part, right? Okay. Absolutely anyone can get a tech job. What do you guys think? Let me know. Let me know if anyone can get a tech job. Jeremy says true. What does everybody else say? Or maybe we don't know. We're not sure. Ooh, can anyone get a tech job? Well, we got some trues. We got some falses. Love it. All right, guys. True. But let me clarify. Can anyone on the planet become a 500K developer at Google? No, I don't believe so. Like, if you are going to be like a super programmer at one of these like crazy, like big companies like Facebook and Google, you will need to be an intuitive genius, right? Like, there's no doubt about it. Like, you will just see things that surprise others, right? Like, if you're at that level of problem solving, awesome, go for it, go to town. But here's the thing. Everyone can get a tech job. They just can't all get the same tech job. Does this make sense? The tech job that you're eligible for depends on skills that you acquire, right? That's what determines what type of tech worker, because there are tech jobs at every level. The 6-figure ones, right? The ones that prepare you for the 6-figure, the 200K to 300K jobs, those require at least 6 to 12 months of really vigorous study to prepare for, right? Like, it really does just like take time. I've seen students do it faster, but usually they have prior experience and they went to 1 or 2 other boot camps or even had a tech job somewhere else, right? Like, the people that do it faster than 6 to 12 months. But I've also seen students get tech jobs in as little as 2 weeks to 3 months. Not the same tech jobs, different ones, but they're tech jobs. They pay maybe 60 to 80K and they might cap out at 100K instead of going up to 200K and 300K. Still good, still lucrative. So if you only want to invest a little bit of time, or if you're just in a situation that you don't love and you don't have that financial stability to invest in your future, to invest in becoming that six-figure software developer, there are tech jobs that you can learn less skills for that are still valuable in the marketplace, that are still great jobs to have, right? Exactly. You have to love it. Exactly. But it'll depend on the amount of time and skills that you're willing to put in, right? And I've definitely had people come in and say, like, you know what, I really want to be a coder. And they come in, they learn the coding. They're like, wait, I'm not sure anymore. So let's ask this question. You need to be good at math to have a tech career. Do you need to be good at math to have a tech career? What do you guys think? Good. I'm seeing some falses. Excellent, folks. Yes, you can have any genius zone. You can have any genius zone. Exactly, Daniel. If you're developing scientific software, computer graphics, data science, yes, it would be helpful to have a math background. If you're doing full stack web development, you're good. Mobile development doesn't require math. The apps you're using, like the applications could, but the coding doesn't. Excellent. Yeah, I know. And real math isn't calculus anyways. So yeah, you need algebra. Algebra and arithmetic is what you need, right? Yeah, exactly, Daniel. DevOps, project management, no math. Testing, probably very little math, if any. Yep, super awesome. Okay. Oh, cool. Awesome. Oh, I had somebody ask, how do you submit your resume? So I'm not sure if I'll be able to go through some of the ones that were submitted like later on. So we'll see how many we can get to. So I have a question for you folks. Let's see. Oh, I have a question. I'm just curious. That was great. You guys did awesome. Okay. So I want to customize our time together because, we have a little bit of time together. I want to have time to dive into these resumes, but not keep you guys too late. And I just want to briefly talk about, like, if you're ready to move forward, what you can do there. Yeah, can you guys tell me who's a true beginner versus if you've coded a little bit, if you have a degree? Some people have taken a boot camp or even worked as a professional coder. That's awesome. Cool. Excellent. Oh, that's great. Thank you, folks. Thank you so much for letting me know. Awesome. No, it's all good, me, if you've never coded personally. We've got something for you guys. All right. Because I think if there's some people that arrived late that would like a resume review, that you have a tech resume, I don't mean arrived late, but sent it late, like I don't have it. I think what might make sense is I have one more little thing I want to talk about, and then I can dive into the resume reviews. How's that? And then I can extend that if I need to. That would be good. Awesome. Oh, yeah, no, I'm sorry, Melissa. You're not the only student that we've had that went to another boot camp and didn't really learn what was up, because if they focus on the technology and not your problem solving skills, it's always going to be limited, even if you did learn it, right? Like, even if you did learn it, it's like a ticking time bomb because it's not going to serve you long term, right? Sumit, no, medical coding does not count. Awesome, folks. All right, cool. Awesome, Jeremy. I'm glad everyone was able to send it. Again, I'll just type it in the chat. If you have a tech resume, hello@joyofcoding.academy. You can email your resume there. And what I will try to do is I'll start with the first two resumes. I'm going to try and do these rapid fire. But because we recently launched a new program with some new financing partners. And so accessing the Joy of Coding Academy and our beginning training camp program is like way less money than it used to be, like under $100 a month. So would you guys like, before I review the resumes, and I'll stay as long as needed to review as many as we have, would it be cool with you guys? Are you interested in hearing about our new program that we've been offering? Is that cool, guys? Would you like to hear about it? And here's where we are, just so everybody knows. Perfect. Thank you guys for this. Is that cool? So I think, yeah, Aaron and Dennis are cool because I just feel like it was new and I feel like not everybody knows about it. And I just want to like show it with you guys because it's a super good deal. And we're probably it's so good a deal. We're gonna have to raise the price in a couple of weeks because we want to add more stuff to it, but you could get in now. So let me just share this with you guys. All right, folks. Okay. I'm gonna dive in a little bit. Okay. So I'm gonna kind of jump ahead in your PDF. If you are uncertain about the type of coding job you want, the type of tech career, I have a whole like workshop on like different types of development jobs and which one is right for you and how long it will take you. So if you're not sure what pathway is right for you, you can just message me, right? You can message me and the team and we'll get back to you. But we had mentioned that what kind of tech job you get depends on like how long you're willing to study and learn. And so we actually have a new program that doesn't target the 6-figure skills. It targets the high 5 skills, and they can be learned much more quickly. We've had students get job offers between 2 weeks and 2 months in. 2 weeks was the absolute fastest. I think that was an exception, not the norm, but I'm sharing it with you. And so there's like 2 different types of jobs that you could prepare for. And so we actually created 2 separate programs at 2 very different price points. And so you can dive in and kind of analyze which program would be right for you. And like, what does your dream career look like, right? So this is all in the PDF, and I urge you to complete this activity. It's going to be really helpful for you to kind of unlock and unpack what your dream looks like. If you already know what your dream is, it's all good, right? But so I want to help you make that decision of, is a tech career right for you, right? And is the Confident Coder system that we shared tonight, is that a good fit for you, right? And so, if you wanted to join us in our beginner program in the next 3 to 6 months, really, really fast. If you want to get a dev job specifically, like full stack, mobile, data science, then the Joy of Coding Academy is the way to go. DevOps, testing, project management, any of those things, done. Depending on how much time each week you have to invest in yourself, right? We recommend a minimum of experience, right? It could take anywhere from as little as 3 to 12 months, depending on how much time you have. And again, this table is in the PDF, so you can see it as well. So you guys can make an informed choice about, your prospects. Like, okay, should I get a 60 to 80K job in 3 months, or should I wait for the 100K job for 12? Okay. This is the decision that's in front of you. And so what we did is we put together a new program that solves a couple different issues. One, if you're someone that's on the job market and, oh my goodness, you need a job like yesterday, right? Getting a tech job the fastest. And if maybe you're not sure if you want to be a 6-figure software developer or not, if you're like, I don't know if I'm going to love it, right? Then this is our I'm a little bit committed path we call it training camp. It will help you get a job. It doesn't have an internship, right? The internship is part of our, our core flagship program, but it's only $1,000, and you're eligible for a 60 to 80K job. Like, that's crazy, right? Yeah, we're not going to leave the price down there because the payoff is just too high, and we're really focused on bringing the resources to help you get that 60 to 80K job. But right now, you can jump in for $60 a month. So imagine paying $60 a month, doing the work, showing up for 10 hours a week, and having a 60 to 80K job in the next 3 to 6 months. Like, oh my goodness. So just out of curiosity, who would that be a game changer for? Spending $60 a month to get a 60 to 80K job. Like, what? Is that not crazy pants? So who would like that pathway? I'm just curious. Like, I know Jeremy said yes, right? Like, who would like to see that? Right? And if you want to, I will walk you through how to get started, because it's not obvious how to get that 60K. Absolutely, Mia. Yep. And yes, Mia, you can upgrade to the other packages later if you want, right? So typically what we find is that, this is for students that maybe aren't ready for the investment. Maybe they're financially not in a position to make the bigger investment to go all in on the internship. The cool thing is that this actually helps you get to the internship faster because it's basically the beginning phases of our main program. So every student goes through the same training, but you get to exit and leave earlier, get a job, stabilize your situation, and then move on and come back in. It's the first 2 months of our training program. It offers 6 months of support for the job hunt as well as the training. And it offers support for those low code jobs. And it also has a 30-day money back guarantee. So if for any reason you're not happy after 30 days, just let us know, and no harm, no foul. All right. So super low risk. This is designed for someone that might not be certain if a tech career is right for them, or right, they're in a financial situation where they really need a job quickly, right? Thanks, Alir. Super awesome. There's a link in the chat. And yes, you can upgrade to one of the others. If, however, you know that you need the guaranteed internship experience to get the kind of jobs that you want. If you're someone who has had a coding job, if you're someone who has already, invested in a boot camp, in a degree, then, there's going to be limited use for the training camp. You can still start off that way, right? But if you've already invested in yourself and you're ready for that dev job, then you're going to want the Joy of Coding Academy, right? We offer a peer mentor scholarship it gives a $3,000 discount. That's the price, off the price. That's the price that's displayed here, $9,997. But here's the thing, guys. I was doing my work this summer to make this available to you at the lowest possible cost that we could, the lowest investment, because I know times are tough. And the reason you want these careers is so you can improve your quality of life, right? Like you're crunched. And so we partnered with a lender that, depending on your credit, you can potentially pay interest only for the first year while you're in the program and pay less than $100 a month for the full academy. How crazy is that? So I want to urge you, if you think, with our guaranteed internship program, it comes with a job offer guarantee. We work with you until you get the offer. It's crazy pants. It's our flagship job prep. It's small group, work at your own pace. You choose your own training and internship, and you get access to every pathway that we offer with up to 18 months of training and job hunt support, and access to our senior software engineering mentors. These are people that used to work at Facebook, right? That work at startups. These are amazing, amazing mentors. Super good. Super good. Love it, Jeremy. Super awesome. Now, if you know that you're all in and you're like, I am ready for my tech career and I want it to happen as fast as humanly possible, we do offer an upgrade that if you're the type of person that likes having support, that likes one-on-one interaction, right? Like I'm that way. If I don't have someone holding me accountable, like that I have to talk to every week to account for where I am, I might not get there. And so if that describes you, or if you like that kind of VIP experience, we have the Joy of Coding Inner Circle. All right. And so that's $12,997. This includes the peer mentor scholarship already. But again, it can be as little as a couple $100 a month. It can be really, really little. Yep. Exactly, Jeremy. Isn't that the premise of Agile software development? I love it. Yes. So this program offers everything we can throw at you to help you move forward as fast as humanly possible. And I can see it because we just rolled this program out earlier this year, and we had students already in the program jump in, and they've made incredible progress because it's just so powerful. It offers one-on-one accountability and support, daily DMs with me if you want feedback on your resume, on your coding, like on everything we talked about how you're learning your process, right? And not just the solution. Like we can DM walkie-talkie coaching daily. You get private office hour sessions. We have like these small group, super intimate sessions, pretty awesome, and one-on-one job hunt support. So it's a really amazing program, and it's designed to like really fast track you. So like if you're serious about getting a dev job and having those 6-figure skills, this is the fastest path I can offer you, right? Like with everything that we have in our, program, like the main academy, in the middle has everything you need. But if you find that you learn better with that extra one-on-one nudge, this is the one for you, right? This is the one for you. Super awesome, folks. I have some bonuses. So if you guys are into it, like if you want to check out the Explore, but I know some of you are probably going to be interested in our training camp offers and like making sure you guys can apply for the financing, because it can be as low as $100 or even $60 a month for the main academy, but your credit has to qualify you. So I can't predict that. And again, I've seen ranges all over the place. So it really depends on you and your specific credit, right? So what that situation will be, but there is a calculator online that you guys can check. All right. And it only takes like a minute to apply, a couple minutes to apply. So you can see exactly what your offers would be, if the academy is the right thing for you. But I know some of you will also be interested in just kind of dipping your toe in, right? Dipping your toe in might be where you're at right now. You're not like all the way in yet, or you're not in a position to be. And so you can actually enroll in the training camp today for it's not 60, it's actually 65. So, or it is actually, no, it's 60. I think Kate, yeah, it's 60. So I want to show you how to do that because it's not obvious. We partnered with Klarna and Afterpay, but you have to kind of jump through some hoops to do it. So I want to show you guys that, and then we'll get to the resumes. Before I do, so do you guys like gifts? Do you like bonuses? I love a good bonus. And so I tried to think through, I was like, what bonus can I give you guys tonight to really make this like next level? Because next week we are going to increase the price of the training camp, and it's not going to be $60 anymore. It's going to be probably like 75 or 80. And so I want to make sure that you guys, if you want in, do it. I want to encourage you to take action, because I know that action takers are the most successful and they transform their lives. So I want you guys, this is something that's big, right? I want you to get ready to rock your job hunt. And this is something that we typically only offer at our VIP tier. Like when students pay, I didn't even mention it because we don't usually talk about it unless someone's joining the inner circle, right? The 22K students coming in with the VIP. We want you to be able to rock your job hunt. And so I'm offering anyone here tonight, you guys hit the jackpot. I have never offered this bonus before. I don't know if I'll ever offer it again, but I'm offering you a private one-on-one job hunt strategy and resume review session. This includes training camp, right, guys? Normally you have to pay at least like 12 to 22 grand to get this. And I'm offering it to the training campers too, guys. Kate, you've got this, right? You got this bonus. So yes. So, but you have to sign up by Monday, right? This is for the action takers that are ready to rock and roll, that are ready to move, that want that want that tech job right away. I just want to encourage you guys to jump in and take action. And this is a serious bonus. This is worth hundreds and hundreds of dollars, right? So serious bonus time. And the last thing I want to say is that the last bonus we have is to get our lowest price ever for the training camp. We started training camp in June, right? It's a relatively new program. The sequence is tried and true, but offering it for this lower price point, right? To make it more accessible for everybody, to help everybody move forward and get a tech job with job hunt support. So we want to add more job hunt support to the training camp to help you guys get jobs faster. And so we need to raise the prices to be able to do that. And so we are going to be raising the price. But the cool thing is that you guys could enroll now and get all that awesome new stuff, but not have to pay for it, right? So if you sign up by next Friday, you'll be able to lock in that $60 a month price before it goes up. On Saturday, the 21st of September, it's going to go up to our new price. And so I just want to, you guys have been with me a long time. Some of you, I want to give you guys this opportunity to take advantage of it. All right. So let me just walk you through, and then we'll switch gears and do some resumes. All right, guys, you guys are awesome. You've been doing amazing. So I wanted to try and make this a little bit easier, because if you go to the training camp page, which here, I made a quick link for you guys. If you're ready, you're like, yes, I want to sign up. Here, let me give you guys this. There we go. Awesome. The link is in the chat. I'll take you directly to this order form. The training camp, if you have to select the pay the full amount, the $997, but you're not going to pay $997, right? So we've partnered with Afterpay and Klarna. And so you have to fill out all the information on the form, but instead of doing credit card, you go over to the right and you pick either Klarna or Afterpay. And Klarna allows you to pay it over time to drop the payments down. Actually, I think today someone got an offer of $60 a month, but I saw 65 when I plugged in the numbers. If you want, a 12-month with a little bit lower interest, it would be $90 a month. All right. But so as long as we have the pricing for the $997, like this is like a no-brainer, right? You invest $60 and you're eligible for a 60K career. It is like a total no-brainer, right? Like, anyways, so I wanted to make sure it was super clear for you folks that if you're ready to get started and you want to take this for a spin, see what this is all about, learn how to code, get the support that you need to thrive and problem solve and write from the blank page, right? I wanted to make this available to you guys. Or if you've got some coding skills, but you've been struggling on the job hunt, we'll support you there too. We'll support you there too. All right, folks, super awesome. Any questions on that? Any questions on that? All right, awesome. I'm going to leave this up for a second, and I'm going to take a moment and see if I can download any more resumes. All right, so give me 1 second. Let's see what we got. Okay. All right. Oh, cool. I got some more resumes. Awesome sauce, folks. Let me see if I can download them. So I'm going to leave this up. Hopefully you guys can still see it. There we go. All right. Oh, cool, Jeremy. Good. All right. I'm going to download everything. Okay. All right. And then we got Pinkney. Thanks for bearing with me. All right. When I start sharing the resumes, I have to stop the recording. So if there's any other questions you guys have, please don't hesitate to ask. Just pop them in the chat. Happy to answer. Now, I know some people may, it is late. So thank you guys. You guys did awesome. You rocked it. I want to congratulate you on taking the time to show up for yourself in your tech career. And thank you for allowing me to help guide you on this journey. And I'm just so looking forward to supporting you in whatever way I can. So what we're going to do now is we're going to shift gears a little bit. I'm going to actually stop screen sharing for a minute. We're going to switch gears, and I am going to do a couple live resume reviews. So if you're here, I'm going to turn the recording off, but everyone's going to be able to see and learn and do this together. But if you have questions in the future, please don't hesitate to text us. There is a real human on the other end, right? Me and the team, we respond. So I do sometimes see people trying to figure out if I'm AI or not. There's one person that kept responding chicken when I invited him to a masterclass. I was like, either you're really hungry or or you'd like to go out for dinner, or you're testing to see if I'm actually AI. So yes, we build AI systems, but we don't use them to talk to you because we understand where the human belongs. I think I said once, we put the human back in coding, right? Because we know where the human belongs. Do I send automated messages? Absolutely. But there's always a human on the other end responding, if that makes sense. There's no automated responses, just automated reach outs, right? To let you know, hey, we're offering this masterclass, right? I couldn't let everybody know if I did it by hand, but once you respond to us, yes, there is a real human over there. So yeah, you can ask your questions anytime you like, but we're also in the Facebook group, and my Tech Tuesday lives by popular demand. I'm now streaming both to Facebook and YouTube and LinkedIn. And we're also, piloting a new way to publicize our students that are on the job market to help share them with everyone's networks. And so we're also interviewing students on Tuesdays, as well as other developers. And sometimes I do live trainings. It's always something, right? It's always something. So super awesome. So good to have you here tonight. So I've got a couple folks that I am going to dive into their resumes, and I'm just going to pause here All right, I'm going to pause the recording here as we get started. Awesome sauce, folks. Awesome sauce. Love it. Let me make sure I've answered all these comments. Awesome. Try with an AMS meet, SMS meet. So good. Yes, you can text us. Yep. AI would just say, I know. I try and add the emojis in and like more context because doesn't have all the context. So, anyways, but no, I've had people testing to see if I was real since I went into business. It's just hilarious. But anyways, it's just funny, right? Because it's like everyone's testing to see if I'm an actual human. It's like, yes, I am human, but I might say the same things that AI would because that's just what anyone would say. Anyways, but I've always tried to prove that I'm human, right? Yep, you got to one up the AI exactly. And I was like, so the chicken one, I was like, when are we having chicken? I figured AI wouldn't say that. Anyways, it's a guess though, right? It's a guess. Super awesome. All right, cool. Let's dive into these resumes. All right, I'm going to pause the recording. All right. So now that so that was an awesome resume. And again, can we give it up for Melissa for sharing that and being willing to share that? Thank you. So awesome. Okay. So oh shoot, I was losing the thread. Let me see here for a second. Like what our skills are. Oh, shoot. All right, awesome. Oh my goodness, but I might have lost my analogy. It was so good too. Oh, I got it. Right. This was how you don't have to know a lot to sell your skills. Okay. Let me give you an example. So one of my experts on staff. So this is our DevOps expert. His name is Ike. And so we had hired him to build out some automations for us. They're really cool. We have a ticketing system, a help ticketing system as part of our Discord server. So when students need help, we actually track them and make sure all the requests get answered in a timely fashion. Typically it's within 4 hours. We guarantee within 48, but usually it's 4. So it's pretty awesome. It's really cool. Now, I don't know these technologies, right? I have played with them and edited them a little bit, but I'm not an expert in this. It uses Terraform and Python and it uses AWS. I'm not really familiar with these things. He taught me a little bit. He sat down and taught me for a couple of hours just so I could maintain it myself. So I didn't have to bug him all the time. And so it went down. The system went down. Now, again, I have maybe 2 hours of training and I've spent maybe an hour or 2 looking at this. I don't know anything, but I fixed it. I didn't use very many skills. What do you do when something stops working in technology? You restart it, right? You turn it on, turn it off, turn it on. That's what I did. And I fixed it. I restarted it. And it was brilliant. And it worked. And that's all I needed to be able to do. And you know how much fun that was, how happy that made me, even though it was a simple restart. I did have to look at it twice because the first time I tried to restart it, I didn't restart it the right way. There's 2 restart commands and I had to use one, but not the other. And so I did it once and I ran out of time. I had to go pick up my kids from school and I came back to it later and I tried the other one. And it worked. So nice. So nice. Magical reboot. Exactly, Jeremy. So what I'm trying to share though, is that I could probably position that, right? Even with as little as I knew, I was able to meaningfully contribute. And so it's my job as the resume writer to figure out how to explain my contribution so it speaks right to the person who's hiring, to that specific job. And so I could say something like has maintained AWS cloud systems integrations or something like that, right? I could put something together. And so that's what I'm saying for you, Melissa, is that right now, your skill bullet, developing proficiency in Python and SQL, says, I'm learning and I don't know what I'm doing yet, right? Again, this is said in love, right? So we can move past it, right? It's not to, be overly critical at all, but to share what someone will read from this, right? What someone will read from that. And so, we want to really speak to, even if you don't have skills to the level you would like, right? And we know you're going to get better and do more, right? You know something now, you can contribute now. So we just need to articulate what you can currently contribute, if that makes sense. Awesome. Great start. Love it. Super awesome. All right, we're going to look at another one. I'm going to look at another one. I just want to record this for everybody because I think it's a really cool story. So, why are connections important? Okay, Jeremy is applying for jobs. He has a friend, Martha, who knows someone who's hiring, named, goes to Bob and says, there's this awesome guy, Jeremy, and he's really great to work with. And he's got some experience, not a ton, but he's got some experience. He knows some cool stuff. I think we should look at him. I think he might be a good fit. Bob's like, okay, send me his resume. Now you're past the ATS. There's no screeners. There's a human. This is called social engineering, right? And hackers use it all the time, and it works 100%. In fact, they're yeah. And so now Bob is looking at Jeremy's resume. There's social context here. He works with Martha. He doesn't know Jeremy from Adam. He doesn't care if he hires Jeremy or not, but he might care about his relationship with Martha. So now he has to look at Jeremy's resume and decide, is he a good fit, and interview him as Martha has requested, or say why Jeremy is not a good fit. Either way, he is looking much more carefully at the resume. Let's say he doesn't look at the resume. Martha can follow up. Bob, what did you think of Jeremy's resume? Oh, that slipped. I forgot. Let me go check that. Right? So are you guys seeing like why the connection is so important in that process? Right? Like this is the social context of how you get a job. And having someone on the inside advocate, like pulling your resume through the process, is a total game changer. In fact, when I was a graduate student, when I graduated undergrad and applied for PhD programs, I didn't qualify on paper for the PhD program that I went to. Not only did I not qualify, right? I didn't meet their requirements. My SATs weren't high enough or something, right? So not only did they make me an offer anyways, they gave me a scholarship for extra. I got paid $5,000 extra, which for a graduate student making like 10K, it was a big deal, right? I got a huge bump because they wanted me to be there. Why? I need to be there. And she advocated for me. I didn't even meet their stated requirements on their website. This is the power of a connection, right? You have to have a connection. And so, so I speak from experience, and I see it in our students too. Like there's a woman we spoke about. I interviewed her in the Facebook group earlier this spring. She went from a kindergarten teacher to a project manager. Pretty good jump, right? And she got a job. She interviewed a bunch, but until she had a connection, she didn't get the offer. It was her like ex-husband's sister's brother, or like it was like some really convoluted connection, but she had an advocate. Like that's what we're looking for. These connections is someone that we have enough rapport with that might be willing to serve that role of just being like, oh, did you check out this guy, this person's resume? And then just following up and saying, oh, did you get a chance to look at it? What did you think? Just having someone like has to kind of like hold themselves accountable to and report to is enough, right? Because they're looking at your resume. And if they don't like it, that's fine. But you just want them to make sure you're looking at your resume, right? Super awesome. Okay, cool. Excellent. Yeah. So Aaron's had really good luck showing up at events. Yep. Resume in hand. There you go. Right. Taking action. Right. Because Aaron, when you show up at an event where there's like hiring type stuff going on, resume exchange, right? Like you are providing that social context, right? But imagine if the social context is from within the company, someone they have to actually talk to on like a weekly or daily basis, right? Like now that social accountability goes way up, way up. Yep. Biz cards can work. I think they'd work less now. I think digital business cards might be more effective in our space. But Jeremy, thank you so much for sharing. I hope that was useful. I hope that was useful feedback. Okay, cool. Let's see. Excellent. No worries. All good. All good. And yeah, we have other reviewers in the academy. If anyone is curious. Cool. So I'm going to screen share. Let me pause recording for a moment. Perfect, Jeremy. I'll keep recording. So thank you, Dennis, for sharing. Great job, Dennis, for sharing with us. Thank you so much. Aaron has a comment. This is a powerful point, that the dates and the talent. How can you summarize talent and keep it under your hat? I'm not sure I understand what you mean, Aaron, about keeping it under your hat, but like you want to summarize your talent and but also showcase how awesome it is. I know there's like so many things you could include, Dennis, I'm sure. I would shorten it up to pick like the 3 to 5 bullets that like make the most sense. Yep. Awesome. Oh, showing age. Yeah, I know. Yes. So if you're concerned about age, you can actually remove some of your experience as well. It depends on the jobs you're going for. If you are going for an entry-level coding job, you may not want to put experience back to 1980 on there, right? But if you're going for project manager, that's going to be helpful. You're going to be seen as having seniority, which will be good for leading a team. So it's really about what are you going for, right? It starts off with that goal. Yeah, exactly. So you kind of want to think it. So awesome. Okay, I think I have 1 or 2 more, and then we'll definitely call it a night, folks. You guys are troopers. Oh my goodness. So I'm going to pause and we'll share the last couple. All right, that was awesome, folks. Excellent job, guys. Oh my goodness, you're troopers. Congrats for like showing up for you and learning how to better make your resume. Super awesome. So I just want to share one more thing with you guys. Let me see. Here we go. Again, if you want more help on the journey, there will never be a better deal. Like I did everything I could. I pulled out all the stops. We made it awesome. And I'm throwing in a private resume review session for you guys when you're ready for the market. So yeah, and job hunt strategy for you one-on-one, like pretty awesome. So highly recommend it, folks. If you're thinking about it, there's some killer bonuses if you join by Monday, and this pricing will be going up late next week. So definitely take advantage while you can. But everybody tonight, I was talking about like how do you write your resume tonight? If you don't mind just giving me some feedback on how you liked tonight's event. When you complete this survey, it's just a couple questions. There's a link on the thank you page that links you to this PDF. It's our 6-figure coding career blueprint, and it walks you through some of the elements that I talked about, like the XYZ format, or I think it's called ABC here. Like some of those tips I was giving about how do you create your resume, they're in here. So you can kind of use this as a checklist and a guide to help revise your resume. All right, folks. Excellent. Awesome sauce. Any final questions? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Dennis has his hand up. I don't know if he has a question. Feel free to ask. Feel free to pop them in the chat, folks. But you guys did awesome. You guys did so awesome. Yeah, Aaron, Dennis, feel free. Yep. Awesome, Dennis. Thank you. You guys have a great night. That's awesome. So Pinky's asking, after joining in step 1 and then finding a job, can you upgrade to phase 2? Yep, you absolutely can. In fact, we've had a lot of students do just that. Sometimes before they even got the job, they realized that they really needed the internship, then they upgraded. But yes, you absolutely can. And there's overlap, right? Basically, the training camp, beginning program, is our first 2 months of training. So once you get in the main program after completing training camp, there's like 1 more month of training, up to 1 more month of training, depending on what internship path you're going for. And then you're off and running in the internship. And so like the job hunt for those advanced jobs is just so much closer. So awesome stuff. Awesome, Jeremy. Thanks, Jeremy. You're the best. Great job, guys. You guys did awesome. So thank you so much for showing up. I'm going to go sign off because it's after 11 o'clock East Coast time. It's my bedtime. But it was so good to see everybody. Thanks for having it. Thanks for coming. Thanks for joining. I may do one more pop-up resume review session. If you guys like this and it's really popular, like I'll keep doing them. I think I might have to limit though how many I do. 5 was a lot. I think like 3 might be more my number. So we'll see. We'll see. Unless that's like all I'm doing, right? Unless that's all I'm doing. So great job tonight, guys. I recommend if you're thinking about a tech career, go through the PDF, like map out your career for you. And then, we can help map it out and support you on the other side. All right, folks, have a great night. Take care. See you soon. And have a good week.